I made a video, I'll let you guys figure out which one, that said no more Orchis. That's false. Somewhat. Kind of. You'll see. My name is Dorian. This is SCM Comics. We are starting our coverage with From the Ashes, a new beginning for the X-Men with number 1. So the story starts off in Morrow, Alaska, 10 months after Krakoa dipped out. And you have the chief of police that is showing up to a facility that used to be owned by Orchis that used to produce Sentinels, but now it's under mutant control. The big X on the building kind of gives it away. So she goes to I'm assuming it's the front door, talking on the speaker comm to somebody, and we find out, after she gets startled, that it's Beast. Now, we didn't really cover X-Force on the channel, but it's not like I didn't read it. Beast went dark, like darker than the darker Beast from Age of Apocalypse. Even Sanderson says so. And he got to the point where they just said that there is no hope for this dude. So they went into the timeline, they grabbed a Beast that never stepped foot on Krakoa, killed the other Beast, and pretty much said, okay, you are now him, so don't do nothing stupid or crazy. So she pretty much came there to talk to Cyclops, because Cyclops is one who invited her. But unfortunately, Cyclops was on a mission, which Beast tells her, so he's there to pretty much give her the tour. But now we cut to said mission, which is in Santo Marco, which I'm pretty sure is a fictional place in comics. But if you need to know exactly where it's at, it's in South America, fictionally. And somebody inside the plane is saying, "You're Summers," and we see that is Quentin Quire. Whew, last time we seen him. Speaking of X-Force, Quentin Quire was brutally murdered by Sabretooth to help him to get to Wolverine, which obviously didn't work. And they cut off his head. He was just a head. And they used Orchis technology to keep that part alive, just his head. The rest of the body's pretty much gone. And obviously he's in this, so they brought him back. How they brought him back, I have no idea. I figured they'll get into it, but for right now, we don't know. Or at least I don't know. So Quentin finishes by saying, "You're I should have never joined this team." And Cyclops calmly goes, "Please, Quentin, you've died more times than any other mutant I know. You should be used to this." And then he goes, "Assault team," and PSYLOCKE is next to him, and he's speaking to him telepathically. His wife's up there too when it comes to mutants who've died a lot. So between her and Quentin, yeah, it'll be a pretty good race. So the assault team is MAGIK and the Juggernaut, and they're both playing paper, rock, scissors, trying to figure out, I guess, who's going to go first or who's going to go last. But they both keep picking rock because you're a wimp if you pick anything else. So they finally get it settled. MAGIK opens up one for portals. All of a sudden you hear Cyclops yell, "I said assault team." As they're falling, MAGIK goes, "It's not really an assault team as there's only 2 of us." And then Juggernaut's like, 2 of us is all we need. So Cyclops goes to Quentin and says, "We need a psychic EMP." Quentin's like, yeah, I know, I'm working on it. Cyclops is like, "You're an Omega level mutant, Quentin. Act like it." So he pretty much hits all these Orchis agents, yes, I said Orchis agents, with that psychic EMP. So for these Orchis agents have an X on their forehead or their helmets. So now Cyclops turns to Temper and tells her to put down some kind of cover so that they can land. And if you don't know who Temper is, she's like Pyro and Iceman wrapped into one person. Except for, unlike Pyro, who needs like a combustion starter, Temper doesn't need that. She could just produce flames out of midair. And during Krakoa, she didn't have a fun time. Like, she was there. They wind up killing some humans. I forgot exactly what the reason was, but they did kill them. Had a good reason, but kill no humans. They weren't having it. And she got thrown in the pit, and she was in there with Sabretooth. A lot of these scenarios are wrapping it back around to him. So she does her Iceman thing, and she puts down, I guess, a cover that they needed. Now, if Bobby is a mega level mutant, you would think Temper would be like damn near on the same level. Like, it's never been said, it's never been, I guess, tested, but like, you would think, because she controls ice the same way he controls ice. So Juggernaut and MAGIK are like, the anti-air defenses are down. Cyclops like, outstanding, and the rest of the X-Men are on their way. So then we go back to Alaska. You got Beast that's giving the tour to the chief of police. They get into their hydroponic crops. And who's there? Growing everything? Sklob. And if you think Beast started her, oh, yeah. Well, I would do that to pretty much anybody. But he has a green thumb, even though it's pink and you can see right through its bone. But they're growing tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, and even potatoes, and they're growing them in abundance. But then as they're walking, the truth finally comes out, and the chief of police and I guess the townspeople were not looking forward to the mutants moving in. They were more looking forward to Orchis opening back up the facility and bringing back everybody, because I guess they started off, they were employing a lot of the town folk, but then they went straight streamline and went totally AI. If you guys were with me when I was covering the Krakoa era, you guys know all about that. And I guess the town folk just want to go back to work, but the Beast has to remind them that their work were building machines that were designed to kill mutants. So then we go back to the mission and we see that the rescue mission is to rescue Wolverine. Why does Wolverine always one that gets caught? Like, why is he always the one? Just please let me know. He's supposed to be the best at what he does. Right now, it seems to be getting caught by the enemy. So these Orchis agents are pretty much wondering how the hell the X-Men even find them and get caught. And Wolverine is like, I might not have psychic telepathy. There's plenty of people that do, and I've been talking loud as hell. So PSYLOKKE got an Orchis agent. She's using her psychic knife to pretty much pry everything that he knows. And she's like, if I go any deeper, this dude's pretty much going to be dead. So then Quentin inquires, like, why do these dudes have X on their foreheads or on their helmets? And they're like, Quentin, you didn't pay attention during the briefing? And Temper's like, it's just like during the Jean Grey school days. Nothing's changed. And Quentin's like, look, I was on a lot of kick back then. He was on a lot of kick. So, you know, cut me some slack. So then everybody who paid attention to the briefing is there to pretty much explain to Quentin what he missed out on. So pretty much in a nutshell, these dudes and Orchis are calling themselves Fourth School. Pretty much what they're saying is that humans were the first step, mutants were the second step, AIs were the third step, and the fourth step is going to be a mixture of humans, mutants, and AI. So the good news is that these Orchis agents don't hate mutants. Bad news is that they want to get to this next step so bad that they're willing to kidnap mutants, cut them up, and figure out how to get their powers. Hence, the reason why Wolverine is in the basement getting cut up. And who does Cyclops think he is, bouncing his beam off the wall and off of people like he's Captain America or something? And this iteration of Orchis is made up of pretty much AIM scientists and John Sublime's human. And Quentin's like, ha! Remember when you gave me when I had to go up against a human? Well, now we're going up against them again. I win. So Cyclops goes, let it never be said that I wouldn't meet you halfway, Quentin. But they're not just here to rescue Wolverine and bring down Orchis. There are also 6 new mutants that popped up on their radar that they're also there to rescue. So now we go back to Alaska. The chief of police is like, you know what? You're right. What we were doing was wrong, and so on and so forth. But it's just hard to tell the town folks that because they still need to survive. So Beast is like, yeah, we know, we understand. We're trying to figure things out too here. You know, we're trying to figure out how we can also help benefit the town while we're here, as he's making her some tea and so on and so forth. But then she's like, but why come here? Why in Alaska? Why grow food here where it's very hard to grow? Why come here to travel when it's impossible for a lot of people? And Beast was like, well, we pretty much had a utopia where we was at, and that got taken away from us. So now we just got to make our way in the world the best way we can, and we decided to come here where our enemies used to be. So she starts asking Beast about Krakoa, and he explains how he never been there, and he doesn't really want to get into that. I already explained in the beginning of the video why he never been there. And then we go back to the mission where we see a whole bunch of Wolverine's organs is being carried out by one of the Orchis scientists. So one of them leaves, the other one's supposed to keep watching Wolverine, but then we see PSYLOKKE shows up. So Temper and Quentin used to be a thing back in the day. So obviously they're arguing with each other. Temper is getting Quentin some shit because he was on X-Force, which was found out to be pretty much a kill squad. And then Quentin is giving Temper some shit because she found herself in the pit for killing humans. And then they're both almost crushed by a Sentinel, but Juggernaut was there to save him. So the Cyclops pretty much shows up with Magik and it's like, look, you shouldn't have been thrown to the pit. We kind of did you dirty. That's why you're on the team now. So then PSYLOKKE shows up with Wolverine, and Wolverine is like, just give my healing factor a second. It's still kind of stitching me up because he is bloody as hell. So then Quentin's like, hey, I'm getting a psychic reading. We got incoming We got those 6 mutants that are headed this way, and for some reason, they're not kids, they're adults. And when they smash through the wall, we see that they're also Orchis agents. Now we go back to Alaska, and we have Beast, who's now taking Chief of Police to meet Zorn, Mr. Black Hole for a head himself. He is the healer here. So when Beast feels like he did a good tour, he's wrapping things up. All of a sudden, all you hear is somebody say, "Are you certain, Beast?" She's met everybody, and it's Magneto. And for some reason, he's in a chair, like a Professor X hover chair, which he could just use his magnetism to fly around. But why is he in a chair? Like, I have questions. So Magneto's like, she's going for a gun. I wonder why is that? And Beast is like, because you showed up and you got this attitude and you're provoking her. That's why. So Magneto's like, am I that frightening, Henry? And Beast is like, for somebody who spent their better teenage years worrying about you murdering them? Yes. So Magneto pretty much gets to the point and goes, I'm here to tell my side. I am Magneto. I have never been friendly, and I am to be feared. These are my children of the atom, and they will be allowed to thrive. So all that world bending and kinder, gentler Magneto, gone in 10 months. So now we cut back to the mission, and these mutants that are Orchis agents are giving our mutants, the X-Men, all they want right now and more. And most of our mutants are pretty much stuck on the fact that these are adults and the mutant gene has activated, because normally this happens when you're an adolescent, normally like a teenager. That's when your mutant gene activates. So pretty much Cyclops is trying to reason with them. These are Orchis agents, and they really don't want to be reasoned with. Once X-Men see that, even though, you know, these are mutants, they do what they're trained to do, and that's start whooping ass, because they have been dealing with their powers a lot longer than these guys have, and is now starting to show. And who's ever watching the action from the shadows is pretty much saying the same thing. So they pretty much dispose of these pretend mutants, and they get out of Dodge. So then we cut back to Alaska. Cyclops is trying to convince Wolverine to pretty much stay with them. And Wolverine's like, are you kidding me? After what we just went through with the whole Krakoa thing, you think I'm going to trust anybody or anything? No, I'm going to do what I do and just be by myself. And he pretty much leaves. So Beast and Magneto comes out. Beast is like, so where's Wolverine going? Cyclops is like, my guess, to the American-Canadian border. So then Magneto asks about the young mutants, and Cyclops was like, yeah, it was a farce. But then Cyclops hands Beast a frozen hand and goes, why don't you go ahead and analyze that DNA? So the Quentin Quire comes out and goes, hi, Professor M. And Magneto's like, please tell me he's going to die on the mission soon. So Cyclops and Beast goes on the rooftop. Beast is pretty much telling them how the whole visit went with the chief of police, how, you know, Beast did his thing and, you know, made her feel at ease. And then Magneto came and pretty much made sure that she feared us, but not as much as she would have. So he still feels like the visit went pretty good. So Cyclops is happy because he said we're going to need her help, because right now we're vulnerable until we get good relations with the town. And then Beast is like, speaking of town, I'm ready to strip that thing whenever you want me to. I just need Kane, Ileana, and Quentin. And I was sitting there, I was like, uh-oh, is Beast still dark? Or was he always headed in this direction? Like, I'm kind of confused about that statement. And then Scott goes, no, not yet. I still want to make sure that they don't forget what they owe us. As we see this big ass thing headed towards the town. I am so confused right now.